You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello, I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show, and today we're going to be talking about restraint, where we need to have restraint in our life. Sometimes that's when we're butting into other people's situations. That could be when we have a habit or an addiction to something and we need to have restraint there. So I want you to think about over the course of the hour where you need more restraint, where you can get some motivation to not feel limited or restricted, but at the same time you're moving forward, you're taking action in your life. That's what Living Full Out is all about. We'll be taking your calls, so feel free to call in at 800-333-0001. Also coming up in our next segment, we'll be joined by, oh my gosh, Justin Willoughby. Get this, he got up to 799 pounds. How did he get that large? How did he get to that point with such an enormous, huge weight? He's going to tell us his story, but how he lost it. He did lose 600 pounds. So that's amazing and inspiring for all of us. Also, if you want to hear today's show again, feel free to go to livingfullout.com, click on the radio show tab. All of our episodes will be waiting there for you. And again, I even go back and listen to our shows because I learn a lot from all of you who call in and are inspirational guests. If you have questions on today's show and you want more, advice or resources on how to have more restraint in your life, feel free to reach out to us at connect@livingfullout.com. Again, that's connect@livingfullout.com. Lastly, we want to hear from you. If you have an inspirational story that you feel would educate, empower our audience, we'd love to hear that story and get you on the air as a guest. So again, reach out to us there at connect@livingfullout.com. So it's all about restraint today. How do we tap into where we can be in a place of confidence, yet not putting ourselves out there just haphazardly, having some control? And I know even for myself, I need to do that. Whether it's when I have a bowl of guacamole and chips in front of me, at some point I have to say enough is enough. Or let's say you're out and about with friends and maybe you've had a couple of drinks, but you really shouldn't have that next drink. It's having restraint. Or maybe it's if you're addicted to loving someone too much, calling them too much. You might look at it like, oh, I'm just being friendly, I'm just checking in with them. But then that also might look like harassment, stalking, who knows? So you want to think about right now in your life, where do you feel like you might be out of control? You might be putting yourself out there a little bit too much. And what we want to think about is, what is that? But how can we break that habit? And what you want to do is it's called transference. You want to transfer the bad habit and replace it with a new one. So again, if somebody is addicted to, let's say, drinking or eating, you might use transference by now replacing that habit of drinking and eating with walking, running, reading a book, doing something with your time other than that bad habit. So I want you all to think about that. We're going to go now to the phone lines. I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. Hello, welcome to the Living Full Out Show.
Hello.
Hi,
this is Joe.
Hi, thank you for joining us. How can we help you?
Actually, what I was going to talk about, I'm sorry, my voice is a little hoarse today, but just how to deal with stress with a daughter. I have my daughter that was injured in an auto accident that she wasn't driving in, and just the impact that it has on the family, and how to live every day with a positive attitude for her and for the rest of the family also.
I'm so glad you're calling in on this because sometimes the caregivers, they actually carry more of a burden than the person injured, believe it or not. Mm-hmm. The person injured has to go through the physical pain and, of course, flashbacks of the accident or fears or worries about the future with their injuries or what could be. But the caregivers, they don't feel the pain and they don't know how much pain the person's in. And so I'm right there beside you and wanting to help your daughter as much as possible. The biggest thing that you can do for her is just be a sounding board. If she's having a bad day, or if she's acting grouchy or saying things that are not her normal behavior, that might be because she's in pain, and take that cue as a day where you might need to be a little bit more lenient. You might also want to ask her, are there anything, I can do for you, or anything you'd like to try to alleviate that pain? The great thing is, it's funny, I was just telling my team here that I have chronic back pain, and today I'm having a painful day. I would love nothing more than to leave the studio and go get a massage or something, but probably not going to happen. The thing is, you have to ask her, what would help alleviate the pain? What would make her feel comfortable? And then also, I really believe in the power of motivation. So even beyond this show, what you might want to do is go onto YouTube and see if you can find any inspirational videos of anybody who has been in an accident similar to hers. I think sometimes when we watch somebody else who has been through or gets what we've been through, that can be inspiring. So you might just Google YouTube, maybe whatever her chronic pain is, or accident, and see what you can find, and email her those links, and that might inspire her as well. I think always little notes, like a little Post-it note that you just put in the bathroom saying, I love you, or a voicemail or an email, just little surprises would be fun. Does she live with you?
No, she lives a couple hours away from us now. During that time of the accident, she was in high school, but now in college, but a couple hours. But yeah, I do talk to her just about every day, and I do sometimes ask her too much how she's feeling, I know, and I just gotta get back from that and let her express how she's feeling if she wants to. And that's kind of hard for me to wait until she says something, because I don't want to be our discussion all about her health either, because our relationship is in her health.
Yeah, and you're smart to take that pulse and be intuitive on that. And when you send her, even if you send her a little care package, sometimes a care package can also be relaxing. Again, you might just give her things that would make her feel good. You know your daughter best. What are her favorite foods? Maybe make her a CD if you are able to afford it. Something like a massage or something that would take that stress off of her. But I think you're on the right step. It's just really just being that sounding board for her. That's all you can do. And part of maturity, and again, I was in an accident, so I'm right there with her in terms of kind of overcoming that pain. Sometimes you just have to let her work it out. She knows
and being
her
a
body
mother,
best.
that's hard too.
I know it is. But I am telling you, she knows you love her, and that is the best thing. I mean, they say laughter is the best medicine, but I think love is even better. So you just stay on that and keep loving her. Okay? It's all going to be good.
I will. Okay.
All right. Thank you for calling in.
Have a better day too. All right. Bye-bye.
All right. Bye-bye. Thank you. I love that she called in and she's wanting to figure out how she can be more supportive, but have restraint in not overdoing it. And I think she's smart in taking those cues from her daughter that maybe, Mom, I don't want to talk about it, or I'm fine. If someone's pushing you away, all you can really do is be there. Be that sounding board, be arms wide open for that person, a safe place to fall if they need. But that's all you can really do. And just, again, to tell them how much you care, how much you remind them, but not overdoing it. I really believe in kind of spicing up how we communicate with people. That's why I did suggest to her a Post-it note, a care package, an email, a phone call. If it's one way of communication all the time, phone, it can be overbearing. And so that's where sometimes we have to have restraint, pull back, evaluate, okay, how else can I show this person I care, that I want to be with them, that I want to support them? But again, I think that Mom is completely on the right track. We get emails from clients all the time who are just operating out of a place of fear. They're all shook up inside, kind of like a soda can, right? If you pop the top of the soda can, what's it going to do? It's going to explode, right? So it's the same thing. Sometimes we fester and we worry. And when you do that, you don't sleep. that soda can, right? You're all shook up. And then what happens then? You explode eventually. So before you get to that place where you're going to explode, where you're going to lose control, you want to pull back. You want to reassess. And when you reassess, you want to look at what's working in your life and what's not working. And if that has to do with like even a pain that you're feeling health-wise, what medically is working and what's not working. If it's a career that you're in, how is it working for you? How is it not? If it's a relationship, you see how it goes on and on? Once you put all that together, then you're able to take action. Really important that we think about where we can pull back and have restraint in our life. Now, I want to make sure you stay with us in our next segment. We're going to be joined by Justin Willoughby. Again, he had to have huge restraint to go for 799 pounds, losing 600. Amazing. You don't want to miss it. I'm Nancy Solari. It's the Living Full Out Show. See you soon.
Dad, this is fun. I didn't think I liked kayaking.
Well, I'm glad you enjoyed it. But I think it's time to head back in.
Okay. Can we come back?
Sure.
Tomorrow?
Let's check with Mom. Hey, be careful getting out of the boat.
It's a kayak, Dad.
I'm going to return the kayak. Just make sure you have everything.
Yep. Can we walk home?
How about a taxi? 233 North Maple, please.
It's a short fare from your neighborhood to your naturehood. Visit discovertheforest.org to find a neighborhood park or green space near you. Also, find fun activities to do like boating and biking or camping and hiking, plus much more. It's all right in your naturehood.
Best day ever.
A public service announcement brought to you by the Ad Council and the U.S. Forest Service.
Don't you wish that getting your child to eat right, move more, and spend less time in front of a screen could be as easy as pushing a button? It might not be that simple, but you do have more power than you know. And you can maximize that power with proven strategies, tips, and tools from the National Institutes of Health's We Can, or Ways to Enhance Children's Activity and Nutrition program. We Can offers all kinds of resources, including fun recipes and activities the family can do together to show you the way to live a healthier lifestyle. We're not saying it's easy. We are saying that it can be done. Take the first step today. Call 1-866-359-3226 for a free We Can Parents Handbook. And be sure to visit the We Can website at wecan.nhlbi.nih.gov for free information too. A message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
Today, my new dad and I shot off a rocket in the park.
Today, my new son and I failed to shoot off a rocket.
He knew exactly what to do.
I had no clue what I was doing.
We set up the rocket.
Hit ignition.
And then...
And then nothing. Sometimes I laugh when I'm frustrated.
Then out of nowhere, the rocket launched into the air.
The rocket did get into the air.
I've never seen anything fly so high.
And then crashed into a kite. Look out! Look out! And then the pond.
I'll never forget that day.
I'll never forget that day, even if I tried.
You don't have to be perfect to be a perfect parent. Thousands of kids in foster care will take you just as you are. For more information on how you can adopt, visit adoptuskids.org. A public service announcement from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services, Adopt U.S. Kids, and the Ad Council.
When I was little, I didn't talk for a long time. I liked things to always be the same. Anything new or different would scare and upset me. I was very sensitive to lights and sounds. It was almost like I had bigger eyes and ears than everyone else. So I built secret hiding places where nothing could get in. I didn't like looking people in the eye. It made me feel uncomfortable. I'd throw big tantrums over little things like when my socks didn't match. Sometimes I'd do the same things over and over. Until one day, I found out I had autism. My family got me help. Slowly, I learned how to live with it better.
You can see signs of autism in children as young as 18 months. Early intervention can make a lifetime of difference. Learn the signs at autismspeaks.org/signs. Brought to you by Autism Speaks and the Ad Council.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. With Nancy's expertise, you'll learn how to embrace your potential and strive for success. If you have a question or need further support, send us an email at connect@livingfullout.com. Now, here's Nancy.
Welcome back to the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about where we might need to have restraint in our life so we can move forward and live a life full out. And our inspirational guest today, Justin Willoughby, is no stranger to needing to have restraint. In fact, at his peak, he got up to 799 pounds. But he worked hard. He got that off. He didn't take drugs. He didn't have surgery. How did he do that? But more so, what got him to that point? He's going to be sharing his story with us. So I'd very much like to welcome Justin to the show.
Hey, Nancy, how are you?
I am great. Thank you so much for joining us. Honestly, it is just amazing. I'm in awe of you. Okay, I think, losing 20 pounds is hard. Losing 600 pounds, I just can't even fathom how you did that. And I know you're going to share it with us, so everybody stay tuned and listen in. But let's take our audience back just a bit, okay? Because you were from a family that was, a good family, loving, food was kind of a central point. You all just kind of ate together and you started growing up. And I think in second grade, you were 200 pounds. Then in seventh grade, you were 400 pounds. And then in ninth grade, you were 500 pounds. But obviously you started to continue to escalate. Can you share with us, was it that your family didn't notice that you were gaining weight, or was your gaining that much weight over the years acceptable?
I think my family did notice, but I think they were also blinded by wanting me to be happy, in a sense. Food made me happy, and I was comfortable where I was at with that escalation of weight, and so I think it was noticed, but it just wasn't acted upon. It just seemed like it was harmless, like I was just growing up or something. So it wasn't acceptable, but again, it was accepted due to that season of my life.
Now, at what point did you notice that, a love for food turned into an addiction for food?
It was, honestly, when I'm looking back, I remember crying when dinner wasn't ready when I came home from school, and I didn't think anything of it back then. But then looking back at it today, I could see the addiction and how evident it was in my life. It wasn't until I was 16, really, and I'm 31 right now, to where I noticed that food addiction. So, and it was just the love of food just drove me to keep eating it. Even if I was full, I still wanted more because it tasted so good, it made me feel comfortable, and it just took me to a whole new place, basically.
And I can appreciate that because I'm a comfort food eater. When I get stressed out, I want to eat. And some people, they don't, but I'm with you on that one. Now, it's interesting. Around 14, though, you started to also have anxiety. Can you share with us why and how that escalated?
Yeah, it was really strange, the first anxiety attack that I had. I didn't know what it was, thought I was dying. I woke up in the middle of the night, had to use the bathroom, and then I go back to bed, and I noticed my heart was just pounding and pounding and pounding. And so I go and wake up my dad, say, "Dad, I'm dying, I'm having a heart attack." And he got up, and my mom got up, and they rushed me to the hospital. And they couldn't figure out what was wrong the first time I went. And I knew something was going on, but I felt it, and it happened again the next night. They sent me home that day, happened again the next night. And so that's when they admitted me into the hospital. I was paralyzed by fear. It drove me insane to a point where I didn't want to move. I thought I was going to have a heart attack. I would have my dad come in and rub my back when I would get an anxiety attack. They tried to put me on medication, and that helped numb some of the effects of the anxiety, but it wasn't the answer for me. And so the anxiety held me in this prison of fear that made me just really inactive. And with that inactivity, I also had, again, the food addiction. And it's like math, 1 + 1 is 2, So if you're not moving and you're eating a bunch to basically help that anxiety get eased out, you're going to gain a bunch of weight.
Now, your peers and your family were supportive of you. I mean, no one really turned to you and said, "Hey, Justin, you're gaining too much weight." I mean, it just seemed acceptable, but yet you were missing out socially. And maybe that also contributed to your anxiety, wanting to date, wanting to be able to fit into desks because you were too large, you couldn't. What was it like? Because I'm sure that was lonely. As much as you were accepted, you were just, outside the body that you really wanted to have.
Yeah, I felt like I was in a prison, honestly. I was looking outside my body in a sense, looking at who I wish I could be and what I'm limited of being right now. I mean, I wanted to go run with my friends. I wanted to be in school and fit in a normal desk and not have to sit at a teacher's desk or pull a chair up in a regular school desk just to sit by it and get a seat during class. I wanted to play gym games, and I wanted to be able to have a girlfriend and on and on. And so I basically had these dreams, and I wish this was me. And but the weight and the anxiety just kind of held me back to where it was uncomfortable. And though I longed for that stuff, it just wasn't a reality. And so I could see how maybe that would cause stress on my life to, for sure, cause anxiousness and depression and anxiety attacks.
Was there a part of you that was just very complacent? Just throwing my hands in the air, this is all it's ever going to be?
Absolutely. It just seemed too hard to change. I mean, I've been this way for this long, and this is how it is, and there's just no hope. There's no way out of it, as though it is what it is. And so, yeah, definitely got complacent. I was comfortable where I was at. Even though I didn't like it, it felt good. I enjoyed my food. I enjoyed being the big guy, even having that reputation as the bodyguard, if you will. I enjoyed some of that stuff, and I was comfortable where I was at, but it wasn't the most healthy place I could be. And I thought, what's the sense of trying? Because I can't get there anyway. I mean, this is who I'm going to be the rest of my life, so let's just get used to it. And I took it from there.
Mm-hmm. And I imagine there were some sad nights that you wish you could have been with your friends doing different things. I imagine there were moments of even anger with yourself.
Absolutely. There was times where, sure, I wanted to go swimming with my friends, or time I wanted to go hiking with my friends. I remember some summers during summer vacation from school, my friends would go and they would go hiking, or they'd play dodgeball or basketball, and I'd be sitting there not being able to do that stuff because I was just too large. And so, yeah, I'd be jealous, the regular human emotions that we have, the jealousy would come out, and of course I would get depressed, and then what I would do is I would eat, just to kind of take care of that depression. And
keeps the cycle going, right? Yeah, exactly. It just keeps that cycle going. Now, we're going to be taking a commercial break here, and so I want you to stay with us, Justin, because your story gets more severe. So everyone stay with us. We're talking about having restraint in our life today so that we can really become who we want to be and have the life that we strive for. And it's not easy. As Justin will share with you in our next segment, it took a lot of hard work. But when you take hard work, passion, desire, and you couple that all together, you can do it. You absolutely can live full out. We'll be right back after this break. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out Show. Stay with us.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari.
There are many sounds in your day-to-day life. There are sounds that wake you up. Sounds that make you smile. Sounds that energize you. And sounds that help you relax. But there are some sounds that can alert you to danger and can help save lives. Wireless emergency alerts, now on many mobile devices, use a unique sound and vibration to bring you information about severe weather events, Amber Alerts, or other emergencies in your area. With critical information from local sources you know and trust, you can be in the know, wherever you are. For more information, visit ready.gov/alerts. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Keyboard Cat, Hamilton the Pug, and Toast Meets World. These are some of the internet's most beloved pets. With millions of YouTube views, shares, Instagram likes, followers, and fans across the globe. But what do all these amazing pets have in common? Their stories started in a shelter. Start your story. Adopt a dog or cat today. Visit theshelterpetproject.org to find a shelter or adoptable pets near you. Training that pet to play the keyboard? Well, that's entirely up to you. Visit theshelterpetproject.org and hear more about Hamilton the Pug, Toast, and Keyboard Cat's amazing adoption stories. Start a story. Adopt a shelter or rescue pet today. Your perfect pet is just a click away at theshelterpetproject.org. A public service announcement brought to you by Maddie's Fund, the Humane Society of the United States, and the Ad Council.
As an 18-year-old, I let my mistakes kind of take over my life. I was 0.5 credits away from completing high school, and I didn't do it.
10 years later, at age 28, Jackie finished her high school diploma.
When I found out that I was pregnant, I know that I had to do something for myself if I wanted to make her a better person and provide a better life for her. My family never stopped pushing for me to be better because they knew what I could become and who I could become as a person. My support team is amazing. The educational director, my sister, and even my 7-year-old daughter has just been more than the support that I could ask for. I've been given an opportunity, and I'm just thankful for it.
No one gets a diploma alone. If you're thinking of finishing your high school diploma, you have help. Find free adult education classes near you at finishyourdiploma.org. That's finishyourdiploma.org. Brought to you by the Dollar General Literacy Foundation and the Ad Council.
What if I could tell you that a full-blown wildfire was going to occur tomorrow right where you live? Tell you exactly which neighborhoods it would engulf and how fast it would do it. The first thing you would do is talk with your loved ones and make a plan today. It's true, I can't tell you a wildfire will strike tomorrow, but shouldn't you make a plan anyway? Go to ready.gov/communicate and make your emergency plan today. Don't wait. Communicate. Brought to you by FEMA and the Ad Council.
Driving has a rhythm all its own. Don't wreck it with a text. Before you get behind the wheel, silence your phone. Or better yet, designate a texter. For more text-free driving tips, visit stoptextstoprex.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council and the National Highway Traffic Safety Administration.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. As a life coach, Nancy can teach you how to stay strong under pressure and work through challenges you face. Being legally blind, Nancy inspires others to be resilient in overcoming obstacles and live full out. You can ask Nancy for advice in your life on relationships, finance, business, health, and more. Just call in at 800-333-0001. Once again, that's 800-333-0001. Now, here's Nancy.
Hello and welcome back to the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari, and today we're talking about having restraint in our life so that we can achieve what we want. And our inspirational guest today, Justin Willoughby, is no stranger to that. He got up to 799 pounds. He's going to share with us shortly how he lost that weight. But more importantly, as we get to an epic place in our life, for Justin it was 799 pounds, but we've all been at that epic point. And there's ways in which we allow ourselves to get there. So we're still talking with Justin now about the journey to getting to that weight. So I'd like to welcome Justin back to the show.
Thank you, Nancy.
Thank you for joining us. And we've talked a lot in the last segment about kind of growing up and the escalation of your weight and dealing with food addiction matched with, anxiety, and just all that kind of became a perfect storm for you. So much so that you ended up leaving school and deciding to be homeschooled. Why was that?
I was wanting to be homeschooled because I just didn't want to deal with the stresses of school anymore. I mean, there was a point where I didn't want to go upstairs because other kids were going upstairs, and I wanted to wait all the kids pass by to go up to the next floor because I'm afraid they're going to pick on me. and pick on how slow I was going and just kind of laughing and pointing at me. I didn't want to deal with the looks that I was getting in the hallway and the kids making fun of me and pointing and laughing at me. It got old. And I just didn't want to deal with the anxiety attacks in school. It just was nerve-wracking to me, and I just wanted to stay home, get my education at home, and I would just be a lot better if I had to face the issues in front of me.
Now, obviously, your friends that knew you and loved you, were there to support you. Your family was as well. But do you wish that someone had just stood up to you and said, listen, Justin, this is getting out of control. Come back to school, lose the weight. Did anybody stand up for you in that way?
I didn't have it during those moments. I mean, during school, I didn't have any friends who would call it out and just share the truth with me on that. But there was a point, finally, after homeschooling happened and I still wasn't losing any weight, just getting worse. Finally my mom spoke up and said, honey, you're gaining weight. Let's do something about it. And I got frustrated with her. I mean, this is my mom. And how could you say something to me like that? You're supposed to be my biggest fan, but all she was trying to do was help me. But it wasn't until she finally said something that, kind of started the process of recognizing there's an issue.
Well, it's interesting because with your anxiety that you had, you feared a heart attack, you feared death, all these things. And when your mom actually got you to the doctor, he basically told you everything you didn't want to hear that meant that you were at a weight where you could have a heart attack. You could die. Yeah, that was like my biggest fears suddenly became a reality in my life. And now I have somebody telling me, hey, this could happen, so we need to get you to a doctor, basically. Now, most of us would just get in our car and go to the doctor. But for you, at the weight you were, that was not possible. And you didn't even know at 16, when finally all this came around, you didn't even know really how big you were at the time. But you couldn't just jump in a car. How were you transported to the doctors?
Well, it was interesting, actually. I haven't been to a doctor in a very long time. And so my parents had a full-size vehicle, and my dad ended up getting me a oversized wheelchair. So he actually walked me up to the car, which is about 30, 40 feet away. And he got me into the full-size car in a very back seat where I had to lay down. And as I was laying down, he had to actually force my foot into the car and then quickly slam the door so my foot wouldn't fall back out. So it was a very uncomfortable ride to the doctor's office. And then I had to have that wheelchair, of course. I had to be wheeled into the doctor's office, and that's where my pediatrician doctor, that's where he saw me. And, of course, he was like, kind of flabbergasted. Wow, his face said it all. And that's when he told my parents he needs to send me to Pittsburgh, Pennsylvania, which they would be professionals in this area to deal with more of the obese.
Wow. And so, again, how your transportation to even Pittsburgh was not normal in that you had to be transported by ambulance to get there.
Yeah, the whole setup of this traveling to Pittsburgh, I had to have a fire team. It was crazy. It was like you see on TV. Fire team came to my house, an ambulance crew came to my house, and they were sitting in my my backyard, and they got the ambulance there, and they came in and got me, and they put me on an uncomfortable gurney, put me into the ambulance, took a bunch of guys to lift me and put me in, and then they got me about 45 minutes to an hour away from Bradford, which I'm from, and I had to switch ambulance because it was so hard on my back. I developed a bed sore just a matter of 45 minutes to an hour, so they had to switch an ambulance that would better be accustomed to my weight. And so then they took me to Pittsburgh from there, which was so uncomfortable the whole way.
Wow. I mean, I feel you in that moment. I can almost imagine you must have felt like a burden in some ways. You must have felt like all of these people are here to help me to get to the doctors, right?
Yeah, I felt disgusted with myself, number one. Like, this shouldn't even be happening. Why does this have to be happening? And these poor people, they're offering me a service, and it was embarrassing because I'm a 16-year-old kid. and I don't want people to have to wait on me like this and see me like this. And so it was just a whole mess of emotions going through my head at that point.
Now, unfortunately, it was about to get worse when your parents were told how much you weighed. What was that moment like when you all three, your parents, realized how really epic this had gotten?
I just remember it like yesterday. I was laying in the hospital bed in Pittsburgh, and my mom and dad were standing at the bottom of the bed, and they were whispering to each other. My mom pointed to the bed, and she told my dad, and my mom came up to my head, and she said, "Honey, do you know how much you weigh?" And I said, "No." And she goes, "You weigh 799 pounds. And that's when I was just blown away. I mean, that's when I tell people like the blinders fell from my eyes at that moment. It's when finally reality I became aware of my reality. And that's when I knew that this was a dangerous situation that I'm in.
And Justin, where do you even begin? Now, I love if everybody can at some point go on and search Justin's name online. I love that you say that it really began with one step. And literally, It did.
Right. Yeah, that was the biggest thing. I mean, doctors are coming in, and of course, they offered their profession to me. Hey, we need to get you walking, need to get you standing, get you doing this. And that was obvious. My faith, number one, my faith had to become a reality in my life. And so I called on Jesus, obviously, and that changed me, gave me purpose, direction, meaning to life. And from that on, I was driven to see change in my life because now I had a new outlook on life. And so then I took this one-step approach where, I would stand up, I would sit back down. The nurses would come in and they'd take me for a quick walk. I would get about 5 steps in, I'd cramp up, and I had to sit back down. And so it was hard. It wasn't an easy journey, but I had to go through the pain. I had to go through the discomfort because that's how I was going to see progress. It wasn't going to be easy, but it's never easy if it's worth it. So it was just one step at a time.
Absolutely. And what I think is so amazing is you didn't take drugs. You didn't surgically get rid of all that weight. You did it yourself. You worked with a nutritionist. You made the changes and you lost a significant amount of weight. I mean, where are you today, weight-wise?
I'm at a point in my life at 31 years old. I weigh 227 pounds. Just the best shape of my life right now. I feel great. I'm running miles. I'm lifting weights. I'm just very confident and I'm very healthy. And so I really enjoy this moment of my life. And I feel like I'm at the healthiest I've ever been.
And, there's so many people who might want to lose 20 pounds, 50 pounds, maybe 100 pounds. I mean, you lost an abundance amount of weight. What was the secret sauce that kept you going?
The secret was just, I love life too much to just let it go. Life's a gift, and I need to make sure that I'm taking care of the gift that I'm given. And so that means having activity. That means not letting food consume you, but you consuming food. That means you putting things in their proper places in life, and they can't rule you. And so once you have that all figured out, you have proper accountability, you're moving, you're eating healthier, and you're eating God-given food, you're going to see transformation in your life. That's just the way it is. It's great. Mm-hmm. So that's what I would say the secret is to life.
I love that. And will you ever go back?
Absolutely not.
Mm-hmm. And what prevents you? What happened to that boy that had the addiction, the social anxiety? Is he still there? Or is he matured and there's a brand new you, a new sheriff in town?
It's a brand new me with the old me trying to come back periodically, but I got to put it in the proper place. It has no place in my life anymore because I know where it takes me.
You know what? I love that. And you are a winner, really. Honestly, you are such a great example of what it means to live full out. You took action, big action. You lost the weight, and now you're living life full out. You're just doing it. You're married. You're running. You're racing. You're working hard, but you're living the dream. So I really want to thank you so much for being on today's show. And I know I got a lot out of it. I'm going to go do a walk today or something because you make me feel like, hey, okay, Nancy, you want to lose 15 pounds? Come on, you got this. You inspired me incredibly.
Well, thank you for having me today, Nancy. Thanks for listening, everybody.
Absolutely. Have a great day. Thanks, Justin.
You too.
And what we want to think about in today's show is, where do you need to have restraint in your life? Obviously, Justin had to have incredible restraint in changing his diet and exercising, even one step at a time. So let's apply that to our lives. Where in your life do you need to have restraint? Might be around a relationship where you might have to make some hard decisions so that you can walk on a path that is more fruitful, that leads you to where you want to go. Maybe it's a career change. Maybe it is making changes when it comes to addictions or anything in that matter. Whatever it is never too late. And I want you to know that we are here to support you, whether you call into the show or whether you email us, whatever we can do to help, give you that motivation to take action. So when we come back, though, we will be taking your calls. I want you to feel free to bring those questions of restraint to us, or anything that you feel is just, pending on your heart that we can help flesh out for you so you can feel more free and feel more light. This is the Living Full Out Show. I'm Nancy Solari. Stay with us. We'll be back.
Well, Jason, I've got to tell you, you're pretty much everything this company is looking for in an entry-level candidate.
Great.
Your resume isn't quite what we're used to, but you've got a fantastic work ethic.
Thank you.
And I'm impressed by how you carry yourself.
So, should we talk about the job?
What? The job? Oh, sorry. Yeah, I have no way of recruiting or even meeting you. This interview didn't happen.
It may sound ridiculous, and that's because it kind of is. There's a huge pool of talent your company is missing out on. Meet the grads of life. Who are they? Talent worth knowing about. Young adults of unique determination and experience. An ideal fit for your company in an entry-level position, internship, or even mentorship. They might not have every qualification you typically look for, but they're exactly who your company needs.
Man, we really could have used him.
Don't miss out on a resource many innovative companies have already discovered. Go to gradsoflife.org to learn how to find, cultivate, and train this great pool of untapped talent. Brought to you by the Ad Council and gradsoflife.org.
The following message is about Medicaid and CHIP, free or low-cost health coverage for kids and teens. Enrollment is open year-round.
Hey, voice lady, give me the mic.
Okay.
Hey, DJ, let's switch up the music. That's better. So listen up, moms and dads out there. There are these programs called Medicaid and CHIP. They offer free or low-cost health coverage for kids. Things like doctor and dentist visits, prescriptions, and shots are covered. All the stuff that keeps kids like me healthy and in charge.
So, as you can tell, a covered kid is a confident kid. And it means confident parents, too. To learn more about affordable health coverage for your family, visit healthcare.gov or call 1-877-KIDS-NOW. That's 1-877-543-7669.
Yep, you could do something big for your family today because enrollment is open year-round.
This has been a message from the U.S. Department of Health and Human Services.
And Sophia.
They're gonna jump out of trees. You can't stop them. They'll go down the slide head first. They'll make parachutes out of sheets. They'll balance on things that are impossible to balance on, like the back of a couch or a windowsill or a scooter seat. They'll run with sharp objects. They'll run into walls. They'll climb things that won't hold their weight. They'll put their fingers in places where they could get smashed. They'll drive their tricycles down steep hills. They'll bounce balls off their faces. They'll step on each other. They'll jump on each other. They'll invent whole new ways to put themselves in jeopardy. But one of the most dangerous things kids will do happens while they're sitting perfectly still. Kids who ride in a car without a booster seat are much more likely to suffer serious or fatal injury during a crash than kids in boosters. But amazingly, 80% of all kids who need them aren't in them. After a toddler seat and until they're 4'9", booster kids, and don't let them down.
Go to boosterseat.gov to learn more about the importance of boosters. A message from the U.S. Department of Transportation and the Ad Council.
Hey, Nick Cannon here. So we all know we've got a lot of talent in America. But unfortunately, there's something else we got way too much of. Childhood hunger. 17 million kids struggle with it in this country. That's why the Feeding America nationwide network of food banks gather surplus food to give hope to hungry kids and their families. Join me in supporting Feeding America and your local food bank at feedingamerica.org.
A message from Feeding America and the Ad Council.
We're your pets, and this song's dedicated to those people who don't have health insurance yet. Enroll, we say, we want you to be okay. Enroll, we say, take care, people, for goodness take.
Health insurance is now affordable and covers prescriptions, hospitalizations, and preventive care. Visit getcoveredamerica.org to learn more.
And take care, people.
Brought to you by Get Covered America and the Ad Council.
To have restraint in your life doesn't mean that you're limited or restricted, but yet it gives you the freedom to take a pause, to plan, to strategize. Sometimes in life, when the world is getting chaotic and busy and we're spiraling, you just have to be willing and able to say, I'm going to stop, I'm going to think this through, and move forward and living full out.
You're listening to Living Full Out with Nancy Solari. Nancy is here as a guide to show you how to rise above obstacles and savor each moment. If you have a question, call in live at 800-333-0001. That's 800-333-0001. And now, here's Nancy.
Okay, welcome back to the show. I'm Nancy Solari. This is the Living Full Out show, and today we're talking about restraint, and that's not always easy. I know that it takes a lot for us to pull back, to restrict ourselves. And trust me, it might be a cookie. You're just craving a cookie, but yet you shouldn't have it. Maybe it's, hanging out with people that aren't good for you, are not supportive of your dreams, or maybe suck up time where you should be doing other things. Whatever it is in your life that is just not working, I so invite you today to make this the moment where you set that free, or you make modifications. But you can only do that when you recognize that change is required, needed, so that you can move forward. Now, I'm getting word from our producer that we do have a caller on the line. We're going to go say hello to them. Hi, welcome to the Living Full Out show.
Hi, Nancy.
Hi, thank you.
Hi,
thank you for calling. So what's going on?
Thank you for taking my call.
Yes.
I have a question. Mm-hmm. My son and his wife and my two granddaughters recently moved out of state. Prior to them moving, I watched my granddaughters quite often. How can I fill this void?
I don't love that you have the void, but I love that you love them that much. Mm-hmm. I want you to get creative. Okay? So I think being a grandmother is such a special place to be. Grandmother, Nana, whatever you want to be called. What are you called? What's your name to them?
Mimi.
Mimi. There you go. See, everyone's got that special name. And you want to think about ways in which you can touch each of your grandchildren uniquely or together. So, for example, I don't know if you know this or not, but there are books out there where you can actually record in your voice the book. It's almost like you're the one reading the fairy tale. What a nice keepsake for them to listen to with their parents. And you're right there nightly. Mm-hmm. You might consider putting together a memory blanket. Maybe you take a lot of pictures that you've taken with them or family trips and put that blanket together and something they can snuggle with when you're not there. Maybe you can do a video chat, send them an email or call them, or even leave a voicemail when you know they're at school. And then their mom and dad comes home and they're like, yeah, you got a voicemail. I do. And then it's a voicemail from you. Just getting creative for them to know that you love them, and maybe reaching out to them every other day or every day if you want to. I don't think there's any limits to what Mimi can do. And I think it's excellent that you're thinking about this. What is your fear? Do you fear that they're going to forget about you, or what do you think?
Yes, that's my biggest fear.
Now, do you really think they're going to forget about you?
No, not at all.
Okay. Now, I'm glad you said that, because here's the thing. There's what we really know, which is reality, which is when we're in our clear-minded self. And then there's the fear that all of a sudden, Mimi? Who's Mimi? Right? That's not going to happen. Mm-hmm. They're not going to forget you. And especially, what ages are they?
7 and 2.5.
Okay. So the 7-year-old has so many memories with you. Not going to forget you. Can't forget Mimi. Mm-hmm. The 2-year-old, the 2.5-year-old, they're still getting to know you. But even by that time, you're so relevant in their family's world that they're going to hear Mimi. You're going to call in. I really think that with all the things in our lives that we have to worry about, whenever you have that fear thought come in, just tell it to go away. It has no place. It's not real. Fear stands for false evidence appearing real. And when you do that, you take control back. You know, function from a place of love, not fear. Okay?
Okay. Thank you.
All right. You're very welcome. Thank you so much for calling in. And yeah, go give them a call. Say hi to those
Absolutely.
grandkids. Okay, thank you. You got it. And I'm so thankful for everybody who's called in today, because it's courageous. It's bold to step out there and say, you know, something is not working. I need to get this back on track. Or in the case of our last caller, having fear around something. We all have that. I'm raising my hand. I mean, who doesn't have a fear? Who doesn't have a negative thought that creeps into their mind about how worthy they are, if they can do something, how people see them? It will go on and on and on. But remember that you have the ability to set those negative thoughts straight. Get out of my life. Get out of my mind. You know, that's not true. I hear you, but it's not true. And then focus on where you can be empowered, where you can be supported. I even told a guest earlier in the show, watching motivational videos on YouTube, listening to episodes of our show, going to livingfullout.com and watching past episodes. That would keep you inspired, keep you going. But whatever you do, it's all about having hope and knowing that each day unfolds into new possibilities. So whatever happened yesterday, whatever mistakes you made, whatever regrets you have, that's in the past. All you have is today, here and now. Have the restraint that you need to have a positive, fruitful future. But I promise if you do that, you will be living full out in a big way. I want to thank our entire Living Full Out family that puts this show together. We have Rich and Roger and Riley and Bailey and Kristen and so many people that are dedicated each week to making sure that you're living your best life. Again, go to livingfullout.com to watch this episode and all episodes again. Most of all, here's to you living full out. Know that I believe in you. I know you can be restraintful when you need to be. And we'll see you next week. Have a great day.
Thank you for listening to the Living Full Out Show with Nancy Solari. To learn more about this program, visit livingfullout.com for the latest episodes. Connect with the Living Full Out community by following us on Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and subscribing to our YouTube channel. If you have an inspirational story you want to share, email us at connect@livingfullout.com. Here's to you, living full out.